What's wrong? I'm tired of being constantly negative literally all of the time. I need a break. I just need to talk about one trend on Roblox that is at least mostly good. Well, I do know one type of genre. What about games that are remakes of real ones? Most of them are pretty high quality. Oh true, that is a genre that's not really too content farmy. I could probably ease off my stress with one of these games. I mean, at least it's faithful to the original. On Roblox, it is very hard to get an original idea. The platform's existed for over a decade, so any game you make will probably be a copy of someone else's. And if it isn't, then you gotta be really good at making ideas. So why not take the ideas of people outside of Roblox? Enter remakes of games. If a game goes viral, you better bet there'll be a Roblox version. But that doesn't mean they're lazy, no, far from it. A lot of the games we're gonna look at have genuine care and passion put into them. Which is why, when playing these games, I'm going to be as positive as possible. As such, we'll mostly be playing games that I find to be good. Of course, to keep things interesting, we will include very bad ones, but for the most part, all of these are nice. Shoot, I forgot to charge him. Well, I mean, if I'm treating this as my break, I might as well go solo this time. In case you don't know what this is remaking, this is a remake of Suika game. You could not escape this game 7 to 8 months ago. This game makes money in form of its skin packs, in which they have quite a lot of. Normally I wouldn't like this behavior, however these packs actually look really well detailed. If I was a regular player of this game, I would actually buy one of these. It even has multiplayer too, although the public mode does seem to be a work in progress. Looking at the actual game itself, this could actually convince me that it would be the real thing if it weren't for the Roblox elements. Besides the obviously redrawn fruits, this is an extremely faithful remake. Obviously the physics engines aren't the same, so there's going to be some minor differences, but there was nothing itself that I noticed. Then again, I've never played the real Suika game before, but as far as I can tell, this is pretty spot on. In case you don't know what Suika game is, you basically dropped multiple tiered fruits onto the board. Matching two of the same fruit ranks it up. The bigger the fruit, the higher score you get. However, if all of the fruit reach the top, it's game over. I feel like the original game blew up because of its simplistic nature. All it is just dropping fruits and getting a high score, which is the same here. Except obviously you have things like physics to deal with, and the fruits can get stuck in between other fruits and prevent combining. Which did happen to me on some cases. It did get a bit frustrating, but I can see where the appeal is in terms of strategy. The big thing about this version though, is that you can actually buy reversal of moves if you do manage to game over. I do feel that this is a bit cheap in terms of actually getting a high score, because the original game didn't let you do that, but I mean hey, you gotta pay the bills somehow. Other than that, I think this is a really good remake. If this studio does any future games, I would be happy to see what they come up with. The Battle Bricks is a remake of mobile game The Battle Cats. The main difference this game has with The Battle Cats is that this game is mostly retro themed at heart. Now, one thing I noticed about starting the game is that the game actively mocks you for picking casual, having the main helper NPC be an ooh-woo girl, alongside making all of the menu music have this like totally unserious feel to it. That actually gives this game a lot of charm, having you indirectly constantly encouraged to play on the actual mode. This game has multiple chapters, similar to the actual game, but we'll do the first few missions of Chapter 1. The first tip I see is telling me to finish my homework, further reiterating the fact that the game makes fun of you. Because if you go to the normal mode, the tips just look fine. Eventually though, I did grow to like the character and the music for the casual mode. I didn't care if the game was basically mocking me, I still kinda liked it. The main gameplay of the battle bricks is simple. You gradually earn cash, and then you spend that cash on producing units. However, the other base can also produce units, so it's your job to fight those units. There's also the bank that you can upgrade to make money faster and have a higher money cap, and a cannon that you can fire, which basically obliterates everything in your path. As someone who's played the Battle Cats a few years ago, I can say that this is pretty accurate to the original. It even has its own set of charm to it with the whole retro theme. Upon reaching the second stage, you have to face the Builder, which can create a wall temporarily that blocks any damage but lets the opponent also attack you. Fair. It's hard to deal with at first, but with enough units stacking on top of each other, they're pretty easy to deal with. And generally, if you do face a new unit, you actually unlock that unit at the end of the stage. You use the EXP you earn to unlock the units, though. Alongside that, you can also use the EXP that you get from battles to upgrade those units. However, this is also a gacha game. Normally, I wouldn't like this behavior, but the Battle Cats is also a gacha game, so I mean, you gotta be realistic with it, right? Thankfully, this form of a gacha is not nearly as ludicrous as something like Pet Simulator, with the top tier stuff being only 5% compared to the 1 in 10,000 Pet Simulator has. The cost for a roll is pretty pricey though, with it being 100 Robux per roll. However, I have a feeling that you can also earn bricks through normal gameplay, so it isn't as bad. I like the tiny little animation that comes when opening a pack too. I got one of the bottom tier ones, but that's okay. Now, I was expecting this guy to completely obliterate the opposing forces, so on the next stage I just completely skipped on most units and just immediately went for the soda can guy. Unfortunately, he did not really work at all up front, so I had to desperately scramble to spawn more units in order to actually get through it, alongside using the cannon. I later found out that the soda guy was actually a ranged unit, which does splash damage, which explains why it didn't really work well up close. I sadly didn't have the time to do much else. However, I'd say that this is actually a really good game. I definitely consider checking it out yourself. I find it to be a really fun thing that you can do with your spare time. Well, they all can't be winners, can they? I've played one of these types of games before, and I just wanted to briefly bring it up here. This is probably the lamest shooter game I have ever played, hands down. There's no fall damage, no kill counter, it's not round-based or elimination-based, and you could just straight up pay to kill everyone and get double health. I also discovered that the sniper instantly kills people, so there's no reason to use any weapon besides the sniper. There's literally no defense against it, unless you just like flail around and try and keep dodging it. But I mean, hey, at least it has a build system, and a very, very basic one at that. I tried to build a platform where I could snipe other players, however I accidentally destroyed my own platform, which made me fall back to the ground. While climbing up somebody else's build, I learned that builds just eventually despawn for some reason. No regeneration timer, it just happens. Furthermore, building isn't really that optimal for gaining height anyway, because if someone sees you, they could just, you know, shoot you off. Except there isn't even a void, it's just a platform under the world, and you can't get back up either, so your only option is to reset. I don't really have anything to say, this is just awful. While Plunger Roulette isn't as popular now, it used to be huge 4 to 5 months ago. Now, you're probably wondering why I wouldn't choose a more popular Buckshot remake, and that's because this isn't exactly the same as Buckshot Roulette. We enter the room as we would in any normal buckshot game. However, we reveal that the dealer actually has a bounty on their head this time, and that this isn't the first time we've been there. Now, it's time to explain the different mechanics as I mentioned before. Instead of it being a shotgun that you don't know if it has a live or blank round, there are multiple plungers on the board. And a certain number of them are active and connected to a bomb on your side. Of course, you can't choose the wrong lever or else you just go boom and lose a health point. But you can actually press a button with limited uses to make that plunger that you're pulling go to them instead. While it isn't too fundamentally different from buckshot, it's still different enough. It's basically if there were multiple shotguns. Except this time, the dealer is still pretty smart, and most of the time knows what they're doing. At the second round, items are introduced. We get a witch's brew, which allows us to pull a lever without risk, and a bandage, which allows us to recover 1 health. However, if you let your guard down, the dealer can absolutely body you. I had 3 health here, in which they proceeded to lock me up with handcuffs, then use a hammer to deal double damage, which made it so that I was only at 1 health point now. Except I still needed to skip my turn because I was handcuffed. At that point, it was a coin flip to determine if I would live or not, except that was a coin flip I didn't exactly win. And while I did die, there are checkpoints every round. Dealer's even kind enough to let you know that you should use the button before hitting it if you happen to make a mistake. At least in a point where I had them cornered. I eventually got enough items to pull off a 4 health point combo against the dealer, and I managed to win the match. If you're up for a quick spin of the original Buckshot Roulette, I'd say that this game's for you. It even has multiplayer. You know that the game is good when you get killed by another player on the damn title screen. I thought the game would break once it started loading chunks when I haven't even pressed play. Welcome to Minecraft Smiling Face, Clenching Teeth Face, Smiling Face, Laughing Face.
Hello, I am Fidget Spinner Obby Parkouri! I will guide you through the realm of Minecraft. Firstly, we have Sapphire and Ruby tools, which you can purchase with Robux. You can also purchase X-ray and admin commands for $15 each.
Wait, hang on, but there are only like 7 commands for admin. A lot of which don't even matter.
Yes, but you can turn players into dinosaurs! Is that not what you want?
Whatever, I'm just gonna play Minecraft. I did all the typical Minecraft stuff. Get wood, make a crafting table, you know. And then I proceeded to craft a wooden pickaxe. Wait, why can't I craft a wooden pickaxe?
That's the neat part! You don't!
Okay, well I guess I'm being attacked now? Okay, I gotta run like right now. After escaping the dude with only 2 hearts left, I fled to the water, in which after a bit of swimming, I could see that they gave up. Also, you don't lose momentum while swimming. Unlike the actual Minecraft where you can't just skip over the water. I thought that this game maybe skipped wooden pickaxes and went straight to stone, so I tried mining stone. And wouldn't you know it, it didn't give me the item. In fact, none of the wooden tools seemed to work for me. Amazing game.
Amazing game? Wow! Thank you! Don't forget to join Strike Inc. for free items!
No thanks, I'm gonna be heading out now.
Wait! But you haven't played for 5 hours yet!
Have you ever wanted to work at SCP Foundation? No? Well, now you can. Welcome to Robotomy Corporation, a remake of Lobotomy Corporation. Lobotomy Corporation is basically an SCP management game, except with its own unique set of characters. Robotomy Corporation has the same set of abnormalities, which are basically anomalies, to deal with as the manager. However, most of the time, you're not the manager in Robotomy Corporation, you're an agent. Meaning it's your job to level up your own stats and manage abnormalities. These abnormalities are ranked on danger from Zayn to Teth to He to Wa to Aleph. I chose the department with the most Zayn abnormalities, because obviously anything above Teth would be super overleveled for me. As you can see around me, a first trumpet is currently occurring, meaning a disaster is occurring, which is either caused by abnormalities breaching, people dying, or both. I'm just glad it's not second or third, honestly. In the Robotomy Corporation, you basically have 4 different methods of researching an abnormality: instinct, insight, attachment, and repression. Different types of research have different results, however your overall goal is to produce PE boxes and energy. Obviously, if enough bad stuff happens to that abnormality, most of the time it breaches. You also have a sanity meter, in which, if it runs out, then you goes panicked. At this point, you either go running around, opening the abnormality doors, or doing something that would get me demonetized if I mentioned it. I tried working on a He abnormality, and in 2 hits, I went ahead and goes panicked. I barely managed to survive research with Forsaken Murder, which is only a Teth. There was a line to work on Censored, which is an Aleph, and I just simply got told nuh-uh. And then I instantly died due to walking in the same room as an abnormality breach. I'm unsure if there's a manager position due to the server being full, but either way, if you're a fan of the original game and want to actually play as an agent, then this is for you. From the second that content warning became popular, I knew that a game like this was on its way. Not to say that it's bad, it's kind of predictable. The main way this game gets money is the skins. You don't want to look like a default guy, you want to look like Roberto the Fish. Oh yeah, and just casually putting in more oxygen, infinite flashlight, more health and stuff. I get that this makes the game pay to win, however at the same time I'm trying to be positive here. I tagged along with one other player, and grabbing a camera, we descended into the nightmare. Now, the purpose of content warning, and by extension, the purpose of Scream Stream, is going into a scary place and filming it for a YouTube video, in hopes that you will get views. The obvious goal is to get a certain number of views every night. If you don't make quota, too bad, your game is over. Unfortunately for us, it was really hard to find a good monster in here, if any monsters at all. There are upgrades in this game, extra gadgets, extra lights, emotes and stuff, except you can just, buy cash with Robux and stuff. I feel like the monetization here is a bit heavy. Once you film your video, it's played back to you, and your friends go ahead and give you feedback. Stuff like, is there more to come? I want more monsters and surprises. And, this isn't captivating me. You then sleep, wake up again, and do the same thing the next day. Most of our time in the nightmare was just us walking around, desperately praying that we find a monster to film so that we were able to make quota. Except, we just couldn't. While this does seem faithful, I would prefer the original game over this. But if you don't want to pay the $8 for it, then I guess this is a good alternative. I just hope that it can be a bit improved in the future. Trespasser is a reimagining of a game called That's Not My Neighbor. Now, the core gameplay of That's Not My Neighbor is that you basically have to accept or decline residents depending on if they are abnormal or not. They could be blatantly obvious, or just a tiny little detail like not being on a certain list without having a reason. However, because that would be boring for a Roblox game, these developers decided to switch things up a lot. Alongside not having to let suspicious people in, you also have to keep the emergency exit shut and the generator running. The generator isn't too big of an issue, all you really have to do is just hold E for a few seconds every time it gets a bit low. It's the exits that get a bit stressful. There are 3 exit locations around the map, one more for every extra night. It goes up to 3 nights, by the way. Occasionally, these emergency exits will open, and you gotta close them, or else something bad's gonna sneak in. I had a party of 4, so it was pretty easy to handle it all together. However, I imagine that this is probably very stressful going solo. There weren't really that many suspicious people throughout the nights, though. No anomalies were actually let in. However, from what I can gather, they'll basically just go around and kill your teammates based on the fact that there's basically just a revive box sitting there. With 4 people, it just felt a bit too easy. I can imagine on Nightmare mode it's a lot harder, however I did not try that. I believe it ramps up on the second map, however I didn't go for doing that. All in all, this game is a pretty cool reimagining of what would otherwise be a kind of bland horror game. I hope future maps will expand the game even further than it already is. I wish you all luck. Ugh. How long was I out for? Oh yeah, so like I was saying, Star. No need to continue. I'm all good now, don't worry. You sure about that? Yeah, I'm fine. If a game gets popular, people will obviously want to copy that popularity. However, in some of these cases, which we've seen, actual passion is put into them. Unlike most of the things we've seen on this channel, which is just content farm slop, these actually look like they had care put into them. Well, I mean with a few exceptions. Obviously, just straight up ripping off someone's idea is not the greatest thing to do, which is why I liked the games that had their own unique style, or just changing the gameplay up altogether. Making a project like this could lead on to creating original ideas themselves. It's just with those first few projects, you at least need to be kind of unique with it. With that being said though, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Wait, real quick. Where did you get that arcade machine over there? I never really noticed it until now. Oh, I got it from IKEA. Why? Well, what'd it cost? Me having to play 11 Roblox games made by companies. Really? The same excuse?